So you're either looking to upgrade or finally have set your eyes on an Apple Watch but are unsure which route to take. Do you go the Ultra route or do you go with the Apple Watch Series 8? Both were introduced during Apple's September event a few months ago, but undoubtedly it was the Ultra that stole the show, with the Series 8 more or less being overshadowed given it's more of an iterative upgrade, looking almost identical to its predecessor, the Series 7. The Apple Watch Ultra still holds a ton of clout and there's still a lot of buzz surrounding its release. It may be Apple's most exciting release so far this year, and thankfully for you, I've had plenty of time with both, so I'll be able to give you the insider scoop and pros and cons between each, because I feel like the Ultra is reserved for a certain group of people, whereas the Series 8, likewise, has its own set of demographics, given that these two watches have a lot of differences while simultaneously sharing some of the same features. In today's video, I got your back. Whether you're upgrading for yourself, buying an Apple Watch for a family member or partner, or even if you simply like watching videos on the internet of shit you'll never buy, prepare yourself as we dive right in. But before that, real quick, my goal is to hit 60,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We only need about 1,000 more, so if you haven't yet, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button down below. And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and roll that intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do also want to mention that if you want to see an in-depth review of both of these guys, you can click the card at the top right or click the links in the video description to be redirected to my 4 reviews of each for a more in-depth look. But also, I wanted to make this quick cheat sheet of all the notable differences and similarities that could help you make a more informed decision. But first up, we got to discuss pricing, because it's the #1 thing you'll likely consider when picking either of these guys up. Price is one of the foremost differences between the all-new Ultra and Series 8. So for starters, the Apple Watch Series 8 starts at $399, but that's for the smaller 41mm variant. And if you want the fuller sized Series 8, then that'll start at $429 for an aluminum 45mm variant. Should you opt for cellular connectivity on your Series 8, that will run you an additional $100 premium on top of the starting price. The Apple Watch Ultra, on the other hand, starts at an eye-watering $799, only coming in a singular configuration and with no option to change the casing color, not even your casing material. You're stuck with a titanium 49mm casing, but the good news is cellular connectivity is featured here by default, but that doesn't mean you're forced to get cellular connectivity, seeing as here in the States, plans start for as low as $10 a month or so, I believe, to add cellular coverage straight onto your Apple Watch. Should you be away from your iPhone, you'll be able to send and receive calls and all the cool perks that come along with adding a separate cellular plan to your smartwatch. I personally find no use for cellular coverage on my Apple Watch, seeing as how my Apple Watch and iPhone are within 5 meters of each other 100% of the time. So I personally found it to be a waste of money. However, it's all up to personal preference, as I'm sure some people will find some value from adding a cellular plan to their Apple Watch Series 8 or Ultra. Now, let's move on to design, because there's no mistaking these watches for each other whatsoever, with the Apple Watch Ultra having a very distinct yet interesting design that I personally found repulsive when it was first introduced. But I'm glad to inform you guys that it's grown on me over the months and now I'm okay with it. Seriously, I'm not the only one that thought that the Ultra looked a tad bit ugly upon its initial release. Unlike the Apple Watch Series 8 versus the Apple Watch Series 7 design, which is effectively identical, the Apple Watch Ultra design delivers a totally new look for Apple's smartwatch lineup. It's advertised for adventures across varying kinds of terrains and regions, marketed towards those individuals who, for the most part, live a more active lifestyle and can benefit from its rugged yet durable design. Most notably, the Apple Watch Ultra has a titanium 49mm case, making it the largest ever Apple Watch. Compared side by side, the Ultra makes the Series 8 look puny, but do note the bezels around the Ultra display that make the Ultra's display appear larger, when in reality, the screen real estate between the two are actually quite similar, as can be seen here when having them right next to each other. The Ultra has a flat display, whereas the Series 8 screen maintains a soft curvature to it. Buttons are another visible difference, with the Series 8 still sporting your digital crown and side button on the right hand side, something we've been used to for several years now. The Apple Watch Ultra, meanwhile, also features a side button and has a a much larger digital crown with more pronounced grooves recessed within this raised crown guard that protects the watch from accidental bumps or nicks while having it on the wrist. At first, when I initially got my Ultra, this was a small nitpick of mine, seeing as how whenever I was squatting at the gym, the crown guard would press against my hand and start a countdown to call emergency services, which is something you definitely don't want to happen in the middle of a heavy set. I quickly found a workaround around it by simply dropping my watch lower on my wrist, and then problem solved. But my point being, the Ultra is massive and people with smaller wrists should take this fact into consideration when deciding between the two. On the left hand side of the Ultra is a dedicated new action button in this international orange that can be customized to tailor and suit your needs. For example, you can set it so that when you press it, your workout screen appears to quickly toggle a workout on. Alternatively, you can switch it to activate diving mode, turn your flashlight on, set a waypoint, and a few other options. It's really useful for active individuals like myself who spend at least 5 days out of the week either in the gym or going out for runs, and is an easy way to build better habits when it comes to your health. On the left hand side as well is a visible speaker grill that is used for our internal speakers, but also is nifty for a key distinct feature that's exclusive only to the Ultra that I'll brush up on in just a second. Lastly, while still on the topic of design, bandaholics can rejoice knowing that all of their Apple Watch bands are interchangeable between the Ultra and Series 8. 3 all new and distinct styles of bands were designed for the Apple Watch Ultra and thankfully are fully compatible on the Series 8 so long as you have the larger 45mm case size. This means that the brand new Ultra bands are not compatible on any smaller sized Apple Watch, specifically the 41mm casing size. So if you want to rock some of the newer styles on a non-Ultra model, just make sure your watch is the larger respective size of the Apple Watch, which also includes 44mm and 42mm Apple Watches, and vice versa. Older bands, including sport bands, sport loops, leather loops, Hermes leather bands, and many others are also compatible on the Ultra, but again, so long as the bands are the larger variants of the 45mm casing Apple Watch line. Okay, so now let's look at features because for the most part, they share a ton of features that Apple Watch owners have come to expect and enjoy. We'll start with what's not different between the two, feature-wise. Both watches run watchOS 9, both feature the nifty and potentially life-saving crash detection feature, both have that new skin temperature sensor that aids in sleep tracking as well as helping females better track their menstrual cycles, a familiar set of communication options, support for the best Apple Watch apps that can help you with things such as water intake and a step counter, and of course, a complete array of fitness tracking capabilities and so much more. At their core, they're very similar devices just with different bodies. Both watches even come included with the redesigned Compass app, which now allows you to save waypoints and retrace your steps with a track back feature. This can definitely save your butt if you're ever hiking or out in the outdoors and can't seem to find your way back to your car or belongings. But now we start to get into some of the key differences with the Apple Watch Ultra having the latest GPS protocol, that being L5, which promises the most precise location data tracking of any Apple Watch yet. There's also a depth app that's exclusive to the Apple Watch Ultra and is specifically tailored for those individuals that traverse into various bodies of water, whether for work, research, or pleasure. It can automatically start measuring a dive below 3 feet, with the Ultra being waterproof up to 100 meters, or in other words, that's twice the depth the Apple Watch Series 8 can reach. This app may only serve a niche portion of consumers, but there's no doubt those individuals will benefit greatly from having a mini on-wrist diving computer that is sure to only get better and better with future iterations. The Ultra also has a new Siren app, leveraging that speaker grill I mentioned earlier to ring an 86 decibel alarm, critical in those scenarios where you need help while in a sticky situation, like while on a mountaintop, for example. It reportedly can be heard from up to 180 meters away. Even with the already existing safety features like fall detection, this siren only offers some added peace of mind. Still, the Apple Watch Ultra seems like it has the best features for people who have a passion for the great outdoors and who can utilize all the sensors for physical activities that require precision and also durability. And finally, we arrive to the topic of battery life, and here is where the ultimate deciding factor may present itself for many people. Over the years, I've been a bit vocal on the Apple Watch's battery life. Before the introduction of the Ultra, you could expect your Apple Watch to comfortably provide you with all-day battery life, but that was about it. It isn't uncommon at all to have my Series 8 fully charged in the morning around 8 a.m., but by the end of the night for me, it dwindles down to about 15% battery, which is a huge bummer and I wish it lasted longer. The Ultra fixes this issue by easily lasting you 2 full days and still having about 30% battery by the 3rd day. Trust me when I say the battery life on the Ultra is absolutely insane. And best yet, both watches feature low power mode, so if you really wanted to, you could extend that battery even longer by toggling this feature on. Now, of course, that does mean that some of your prime features will be eliminated, at least temporarily, such as the always on display and cellular or Wi-Fi connectivity will be shut off, among others. I haven't tested out just how much longer it would make the Ultra last on low power mode. I may have to make a dedicated video just on it, so if you want to see that video, definitely let me know down in the comment section below. Officially though, the Series 8 is rated at 18 hours of use, while the Ultra is rated at an estimated 36 hours. But this is truly a conservative estimate as the Ultra can easily last longer. So if it's battery life you're looking for, no doubt, you'll definitely want to go with the Ultra. So in the end, what's my verdict? Each watch serves a purpose and each has some pros and cons attached to it. The Apple Watch Ultra is undoubtedly a more interesting smartwatch than the Series 8. With that being said, however, the Series 8 I feel will be best suited for the majority of consumers, especially those that have smaller wrists like I mentioned, or else risk looking like you got some Ben 10 watch on. It's also best suited for those that want to save money while still having all of the best features currently available on an Apple Watch. The Apple Watch Ultra is best for those who can benefit from the outdoor sports features or who can justify spending $300 more for essentially twice the battery life and a larger display. In the end, both are terrific options, and I'm sure Apple will sell thousands if not millions of Apple Watches this holiday season. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Which do you prefer? The standard Series 8 or the Apple Watch Ultra? If you own either of these, please drop your experiences down below and stay tuned for even more amazing content coming up. I am planning to do a small giveaway with my blood brother in celebration of the World Cup, so only way to not miss it is by hitting that subscribe button down below, and while you're at it, why not smash that like button? That's been it for me. I'm clocking out for now, but I cannot wait to catch you all in my next video.